2 uteruses equals 2 babies? No. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking some juicy stuff. So almost 2 years ago now, I posted a video about a condition that I have called Uterus Didelphys. So just long story short, it means I have 2 uteruses, 2 cervixes, etc. And yeah, that's just basically because, things didn't form properly when I was in the womb. So resulted in 2 uteruses. That's about the extent I'm going to go into it. If you want to know more about Uterus Didelphys, you can Google it yourself, or you can watch some of my videos. I'll link, one up here. You can go look at those, and I share more information on what it is, how it works, whatever. So it's been almost 2 years since I posted that video, and I got way more traction than I realized. I thought like 2 people were going to see that video, and I ended up getting, 15,000 views on it, tons of comments, and I ended up realizing there's a community of people way bigger than I thought that actually have this condition. And I was super happy to find that out. And the comment thread on a couple of my videos have become just a big community of people talking, sharing experiences, questions, whatever. So that's been really great. And I've also had people ask me questions in the comment thread, and I've had people come to my Instagram and DM me with questions and, insights on my experience, and we've had some really good discussion there on the topic of my Instagram. I just started a new one called The Natalie Page. Please give it a follow. It would mean a lot to me. I have like 2 followers right now because I just started it. And I'd love to welcome you over there. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on that Instagram. Anyway, back to the topic. So yes, I've developed this really big community of people since posting that video, and I've also received a lot of questions. And I feel like it's only right for me to come back on here. Sorry for the noise outside. I felt like it was only right for me to come back on here and address some of the questions that I've received publicly. I gathered questions I got on Instagram DMs and questions in the comment section on YouTube, and I'm going to answer those for you today. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't know everything there is to know about Uterus Didelphys. All I know is my experience and the research that I've done myself. It could be false. Listen to your doctors. Don't follow my advice over your doctors. I'm purely sharing my experience. Now, if you can correct me, go right ahead in the comments. If you have additional info that could help answer others' questions, once again, in the comments, please. If you have any insights or whatever that you want to share and add on top of what I'm saying, that would be great. Oh gosh, there's people outside. Come on. Anyway, I gathered questions from YouTube comment sections and my DMs, and I'm going to share those anonymously and share my insights based on my experience. So, first question I have 2 uteruses and 2 cervixes. Me and my soon-to-be husband are trying for baby number 1. Any suggestions? Well, in this case, if you haven't really visited with your doctor or your doctor really didn't give you any input, I would say just treat it like you have normal anatomy. Just treat it normally. Just keep trying, keep doing your thing. I honestly, Uterus Didelphys, yes, it's a different condition, but I wouldn't treat it any differently unless your doctor says so. For me, I didn't have to do anything differently to get pregnant. I got pregnant really easily, but that's just me. I would suggest if you're really trying to get pregnant, Uterus Didelphys aside, get an OPK, an ovulation predictor kit. Track when you're ovulating. Do the deed a few days up to ovulation and the day of. That is kind of how I did things, and that's what worked for me. And that's all I can really share. If anyone has any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Did your belly grow differently? It sure did. It didn't grow like drastically different. If nobody knew I had Uterus Didelphys, they probably wouldn't really notice, but my belly was pretty lopsided. Not so much when I was standing up. It was a little bit, but not as much when I was standing up, but more when I was laying down on my back or when baby was in a very unique position. So as soon as I reached around 20 weeks, it was very obvious when I was laying on my back, my belly would grow like off to the right because the baby was in the right uterus. So my belly would grow off to the side. When I was laying on my back, it was really obvious. I'll try to insert a photo. And then also, if the baby was in a unique position, my baby was breech and her head often was poking up on the right. So it caused my stomach to just really slant down and it looked kind of weird. But yeah, if she was in a weird position, it definitely would show. Was your pregnancy different? I made a whole video actually on my pregnancy with Uterus Didelphys, so I'll link that here. It was different in some ways. I'm not sure entirely if it had to do with having Uterus Didelphys, but I do know that they did pay closer attention to me throughout my pregnancy because they weren't really sure if having Uterus Didelphys would cause any risks. So they did watch me a little bit more closely. I did have many ultrasounds. I think for a typical pregnancy, you have like 2 or 3 ultrasounds. I had like 12. And that's just because they wanted to pay closer attention. And later on in my pregnancy, my cervix started to shorten really quickly. So I had to go in every couple of weeks and get checked. So that was one thing. I don't know if my shortened cervix had anything to do with my Uterus Didelphys, but that was my experience. I had to be on daily progesterone suppositories. I did have to take things really easily. I had to finish work early. But that could have been a unique issue on its own. I don't know if it had anything to do with it. And I did have a couple bleeding scares where I ended up having to go to the hospital to get checked because I started bleeding. And then they realized that I was just bleeding from the uterus that had no baby in it. So I don't know. The main difference is I was sore during pregnancy, but if you want to know more information, just check out the other video I linked. The next question is, how is it possible to conceive a baby? Now, I think there's this unspoken theory that it's harder to get pregnant with Uterus Didelphys. I don't know a whole lot on that. For me, I got pregnant on the first try. So in my experience, it was quite easy. Many women have a septum going down their canal. I don't want to talk too explicitly or else I'll get demonetized. But they have a septum going down between their cervix, you know what I'm saying? And if you're only doing the deed on one side, then if you're not ovulating on that side, it's impossible for something to happen. You might not be doing it on the right side on the right month, you know what I'm saying? So in that case, I think it could be harder. However, if that septum has been removed, and I'll link another video on my experience getting my septum removed. If you've had it removed, I don't really think it should cause, more difficulty getting pregnant. So I don't know. Once again, if you have any insights on that, leave them in the comments. Did you have scar tissue after surgery? So after my septum surgery, I think I have a little bit. However, I've healed really well. I do know that scar tissue can cause some pain when you're doing the deed. And yeah, sometimes, I don't know. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it and it hasn't really caused many issues for me. So I'd say I might, but it hasn't really caused issues for me. Does having 2 uteruses increase the chances of having twins or multiples? I don't know. Again, I don't know. I would think no. I think as far as I'm aware, when you have 2 uteruses, you only have 2 fallopian tubes. So 1 fallopian tube coming off of each uterus. So if your hormones are functioning properly, I imagine you'd alternate ovulating on each side just like a normal person does. So unless your hormones are whack and you're ovulating from both sides every month, I would imagine that it would not really increase the chances. However, there have been a few cases where women have gotten pregnant in both sides. I don't know. To me, I don't think it would be a higher chance, but I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. Do you have more than one menstrual cycle? No. I have one, and it is long. My period lasts 10 days, usually on average, sometimes longer, sometimes a little bit shorter. 10 days, very heavy, very painful. I think I menstruate on both sides, but I'm not positive. I don't know. Yeah, I just have a very intense period, but I don't have two, if that makes sense. I don't have two separate ones. It happens at the same time as far as I'm aware. 2 uteruses equals 2 babies? No. Do you ovulate on both sides every month? I hope not. If I try to get pregnant again and I'm ovulating on both sides, I could get pregnant in each side. So I really hope not. I hope my hormones are working properly and that I'm alternating. Otherwise, that wouldn't be good. Did you have increased bleeding during postpartum? No, I don't think so. I actually didn't have as much as I expected. It did last for a while, but I don't think it was abnormal. Did doing the deed improve after having the septum removed? 1,000 million, 100 billion% yes. Yes. It was impossible before having the septum removed. So yeah, pretty much. Did you have bad menstrual cramps? Were they irregular? Yes, horrible, crippling menstrual cramps, especially in my teen years. After having Maven and, once I started getting regular again, they were still bad, but not quite as crippling as before. But still worse than the average person, I am sure. When I was younger, when I was working as a teenager, I would have to go home and I'd have to call in sick from work at least 2 days of every menstrual period. So yeah, it was extremely bad and unbearable in my teenage years. Is it safer to do IVF to reduce the chances of twins? I don't know. I've heard this a lot, that having uterus didelphys is increasing the chance of having twins, but I don't see why. If someone has insight on that, please let me know. This is the first I've heard of people doing IVF to reduce the chances of twins. That doesn't really make sense to me personally. I would say just try to do it naturally. If you get pregnant with twins, people have done it before. Obviously go by your doctor's recommendations, but I don't know if I'm willing to fork out $15,000 for that. I don't know. That's just me though. That's just me. Did you have the option to remove your uterus didelphys? No. There's no point, really. Uterus didelphys, it does increase the risk of preterm labor. However, it doesn't mean you can't function. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It still works. I still want to have kids, so I don't know why I would get it removed. That was never an option for me. I don't see why I would need to unless it was causing other health problems, but I don't know. I want to have more kids, so I'm keeping it. I've also had the question before if I had the option to remove one of them. Once again, I don't see why I would do that. It would just lower my chances of being able to get pregnant again. So I don't know. No, I'll keep my 2. Thank you very much. Was conceiving ever a problem? No, it was not. And I'm very grateful for that. It's happened on our first try. We'll see next time. Maybe we won't be as lucky, but yeah, in my experience, it was easy for us. But I don't know if it will be like that in the future. I guess we'll see. Before the surgery, were you able to fit tampons? No. That's pretty much why I had the surgery. It was impossible. Absolutely excruciatingly impossible. So no, it was impossible. I know many people can, but my septum was thick. TMI. My septum would not allow for that to happen. So the surgery was 1,000% necessary for me. Someone asked me, when did I start feeling baby movements and how intense did I feel them? I don't think uterus didelphys would have an impact on that for me. However, if you are curious, I started feeling baby movements at 16 weeks and 4 days, and I felt them pretty intensely. I don't know. They were gentle at the beginning, but they did get quite quite startling sometimes. Someone was wondering how big my baby was at birth. One thing that often happens with uterus didelphys is you will have smaller babies sometimes because your uterus is smaller. However, I had a perfectly average sized baby. She was 6 pounds, 14 ounces. I'm not sure what that is in kilos, but I had a normal sized baby, but she definitely wasn't big. Someone asked if it affects pregnancy tests, and no. I got a positive pregnancy test at a week and 3 days past ovulation, so exactly the same for that. Anyway, that seems to be pretty much all the questions I got that I could answer, at least the most frequently asked ones. If you guys have any questions, any more questions, I'd be more than willing to do a second Q&A for sure. If you have more in-depth, personal, juicy questions, go right for it in the comments. I'm happy to answer. I'm an open book, and I don't really care. I can share all the info. So if you have more questions, leave them in the comments. If you have insights or information or links or whatever, please share them. Share your personal experience. I know it's really beneficial for other women that are looking for someone to relate to. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. Once again, please follow me on my Instagram. It is so sad and small right now, and I need your support. So please follow me on the Natalie page. It would mean very much to me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful for some of you. Please leave your questions. I'll be more than happy to answer. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button. And if you want to see more content in the future, hit that subscribe button too. See ya.